According to Kipling, what is the white man's burden? The white man's burden is the task that white colon- colonizers believed they had to impose their civilization on the black inhabitants of their colonies. That's according to Kipling. What reward does Kipling suggest the white man gets for carrying his burden? When the white man carries his burden, his reward is to praise and to thank. So basically, just to be able to praise to God and to be thankful. Who was Kipling's audience, and how do you think they may have responded? I believe that Kipling's audience was the people around him, like the white men, because of how he spoke to them, like explaining like what they were doing and how they were doing it. I think it was the white men and what the effects of them doing, how that was going to affect everybody around them and how it impacted them. In 14 points it says, what is Wilson's main message here? Woodrow Wilson's main message in the 14 points would definitely have been, I think, like world peace. Because when he spoke, he talked about how like basically each country needed to leave each other alone. Like how everyone should be able to just do their own thing. The next question is this the same as imperialism of the late 19th century? And my response was definitely not the same like imperialism as the 19th century, because when Woodrow made the 14 points, he wanted world peace, and that's what he believed was basically going to save us, like as a world, I guess. But that's really not the case. Like that wasn't realistic. So as the late 19th century like started to occur, like we had the wars of we invaded Panama, and we had the Persian Gulf War. So that showed basically that they were like two different time periods. Like we believed in two different things, like in those times. Like they weren't the same. Like we didn't base anything of what we were doing off of Woodrow Wilson's 14 points during the late 19th century. The third question says, how does Wilson's conception of foreign relations different from Kipling's idea in White Man's Burden? And I said that Wilson believed that we need world peace, and basically like we all need to get along with each other. Like that was the whole point. Like that, I feel like Wilson had like a really good heart, because he believed that we all need to work together, like, but at the same time mind our own business. But then in the White Man's Burden, Kipling believed that like the white man like had more power than everybody else, and like you're teaching your son that, and your son's watching that, and so on and so on, no matter what. Like basically like to fight for what you know, like what you own. And Woodrow Wilson didn't believe that. Like he had completely different views of how Kipling did. And the last question says, do you see our foreign policy agenda today ground in these 14 points, or have we departed from them? I believe that today in our society we are way beyond 14 points, and I feel like we as Americans, like we try to believe in world peace and like being friendly with our neighbors, but I feel like everybody always tries to intervene with each other. Like just for instance, like if there was some type of conflict in Africa and people were going over there and like killing them, we're gonna as Americans, if they are like weak or too weak, we will try to intervene to help. And I wouldn't say it's a bad thing that we try to help, because other places are less fortunate than us and they can't fight back. And that's completely understandable. But at the end of the day, it's like if we were really to mind our own business, like if we were just like, well, that's not our country, we're not worried about it, over here we're good, I feel like we would be able to have peace with amongst each other. But then we would be corrupted within each other. Like we wouldn't have to worry about our neighbor. Like we wouldn't have to help other people if we didn't have a heart. But I just feel like that's our nature. Like as people, we want to help people that we see that are in need. And it's just like we can't have world peace if we always try to intervene with things that don't have anything to do with us. But it's just like as humans, that's what we want to do.